For 20 years, Britain's greatest chef cooked classic French cuisine.
My whole vision was blinkered. It was all about the great French restaurants of France.
But now Marco Pierre White is on a mission to celebrate the best of British food.
Perfect. I mean, that is exquisite. I'll be travelling to every corner of Britain.
He's been discovering the very best British ingredients for his biggest challenge yet.
I'm standing up fighting for Britain.
Marco's cooking a banquet for over 200 people.
Do you take this piece? Rather than just stand there.
At his great British feast.
I'll nail my colours to the mast, and I will deliver on the night.
In preparation for the feast, Marco has been allowing select groups of diners to taste his chosen dishes.
Absolutely divine.
To help him decide which one to serve at the banquet.
It's raw venison, it's not cooked.
With a starter and the main already chosen, this week, Marco's looking to add an appetizer to his menu.
Excuse me, can we take this away?
But will allowing the diners to have their say...
I feel quite repulsed by that.
...finally send Marco over the edge.
Do not push me. I don't think you understand what I am.
Along with his faithful driver, Mr. Ishii, Marco is on a journey to find the best food in Britain, so he can create a feast.
Look how rough that sea is, Mr. Ishii. That's amazing.
Over the past couple of weeks, groups of diners have been tasting courses to help him decide what to put on his menu.
I chose to have Joe Blogs to give their opinions, and not all of them have a great understanding of food. But that's not the point. What they all have is the same.
Whilst he was happy with their choice of fish pie as a main course, their favoured starter of venison tartare was a shock.
It was the wild card. I threw it forward. I never thought that they would say such good things about it.
This week, Marco's decided he wants to include an appetizer on his menu for the feast.
The way I look at it is I just can't do a three-course dinner. It's nice, but it doesn't have that sense of occasion.
So, accompanied by Mr. Ishii, a philosophical Marco has arrived in Morecambe to check out a familiar classic.
You happy to be here, Mr. Ishii?
No, it's the first time.
Good. Are you happy to be here?
Yes, nice to come here.
Do you like travelling around Britain, Mr. Ishii?
I do, yes. I do.
Where's your favourite, Mr. Ishii?
Yorkshire is very nice. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, Yorkshire's impressive. Yeah. Nice flock of sandpipers just flew past.
Today, Marco's meeting his chief shrimp supplier, Robert Baxter, whose family have been potting shrimps since 1799.
Baxter's potted shrimps, in my opinion, they're the finest shrimps in the world. His client list is extraordinary. And it's just a little bit of England when you get them on your plate. It's just delicious. Mr. Baxter.
Good morning, sir.
I told you I'd come, didn't I? How are you?
Baxter's shrimps are peeled and potted by hand, but the famous old recipe is a closely guarded secret.
I've travelled 300 miles to see this, Mr. Baxter. Hello, ladies.
So Marco's fishing for any information he can get in order to recreate potted shrimp for the feast.
Do you know the secret recipe?
No, I wish I did.
What, do they give you the quantities every day? You just pop them in? And tell me, you've been here many, many years, and there's been no variation to how you make them.
They were using that recipe when I started work 60 years ago.
And you haven't strayed from it?
No. This is a tray of the shrimps after they've cleaned them, and she puts them in the pan, and then from then on, the spices have already gone in and the butter.
Those secret spices, Mr. Baxter.
Oh, absolutely. I'm telling all my trade secrets here, aren't I?
Can you imagine White's polished shrimps and Morecambe Bay? So see how I like my polished shrimps? I melt them a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
And then I put them on crumpets. But that's how I eat them personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them on. Do you like a bit of crumpet? Delicious, aren't they, girls? They're funny girls, Mr. Baxter.
Yeah.
Here.
But
Baxter's angels.
Confident his secret's probably safe, Mr. Baxter leaves Marco to have a potting lesson with the angels.
Do Do you flatten them?
All by myself.
Yeah, that's
And what's your technique?
hopes.
Just push them to the edge. You want it so that the butter will lie flat when Cass butters it.
And you're the butter girl?
No, I weigh up as well.
I see. So you do both jobs?
No, I'm only allowed this job. Flat.
That's the buttering spoon.
Why is that the butter? What's so special?
Priceless.
Queen Victoria ran it.
Very funny, you girls. Are you being naughtier than normal today?
No, it's quieter than normal today, honestly.
I never normally kiss on the first date. But I'm going to give you a girl to kiss, and thank you very much.
Positive that he's gained enough insight to prepare potted shrimp, Marco puts it on his shortlist for the feast.
Potted shrimps are very simple to make. All you need is brown shrimps, salted butter, white pepper, mace, nutmeg, and a bit of cayenne pepper. What we've got to do now is melt the butter. We don't want the butter too hot, because if you get it too hot, what happens is as soon as you throw the shrimps in... So let's put some shrimps in. A little pinch of mace, little pinch of pepper, white pepper, tiny pinch of cayenne pepper, and nutmeg. What we've got to do is taste the butter and see what it needs. So everything's about taste, and then cook for approximately 20 minutes. There we are, and that seems about perfect. God, that's good. It's delicious. Do you like potted shrimps, Mr. Ishii?
Yes, I do.
Tell me what you think of this butter compared to Mr. Baxter's. Is it similar?
It's very nice.
Is it like Mr. Baxter's?
Yes.
The only part of this programme which is not British is Mr. Ishii, who has been with me for many, many years. And Mr. Ishii has taken me to every corner of this country. And what's interesting, he's a little bit more British now than he was when we set off all those months ago.
Very nice.
I love sharing spoons with you, Mr. Ishii.
Very nice, yes.
Britain in a pot. Okay, I'm going to now take them from here to here. Thank you, Mr. Ishii. And when they're cooked on a tray, cool them down. When they're cooled, in their pots, pack them down, and a little bit of very soft butter on top, just to create the seal. Pop them in the fridge, and then they're ready. So what we're going to do is just serve them quite traditionally. Lemon, always with potted shrimps, brown bread and butter. Some people serve Melba toast, but I never think it's as good. How do you mop up the butter without brown bread?
Coming up, Marco investigates serving vermin as an appetizer.
Mr. Ishii, you are chief taster.
As he prepares for one final tasting day at the yew tree.
It's shit. I want to know why.
I've always said he's the best chef in the world.
It's a little bit too buttery for me.
Marco Pierre White is seeking out potential appetizers to kick off his great British feast.
I think the feast is basically a giant jigsaw of individual produce, and my job is to piece that jigsaw together and feed it to 200 people.
With potted shrimps already firmly on his shortlist, Marco's on the hunt for another dish.
Nice covey of partridge. Mr. Ishii?
Yes.
Gives you the covey of partridge.
Which could be lurking in the woods of Norfolk.
I've met people who say squirrel's delicious. But I think I'd take some convincing. I'd have to get my head around it. What do you think, Mr. Ishii? Can you imagine having squirrel with soy sauce? So here we are, Squirrel Wood. This will be exciting, won't it? Are you crying, Mr. Ishii? You've got a very big tear running down your face.
No, sometimes actually what
I thought it was because we were going to shoot some squirrels, Mr. Ishii, that you were crying, feeling sorry for the squirrels.
Today, for the first time ever, Marco's joining a group of gamekeepers on a grey squirrel cull.
We're trying to remove what is a nasty little furry friend from the woodland. They are vermin, but they're good vermin, they're nice to eat.
It's all very professional, isn't it? I suppose they take their squirrels seriously here. All dressed up in their gear, their little dogs, their long poles. When we go down to the woods today, we're in for a big surprise. So you're just flushing them out of their drays?
Yeah.
And then once they're on the run, then you shoot them with the shotguns?
That's right, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is a control exercise. What we want is dead squirrels.
It's like a squirrel's wedding, isn't it? All that confetti dropping down. No one at home. There's one in this tree somewhere.
With the squirrels proving elusive, Marco takes the initiative. But the furry rodents aren't going out without a fight.
It's got him on the nose, got him on the nose.
No, good boy. Leave it.
You have to watch out with squirrels because they've got very sharp teeth and they will bite you, as he's now doing.
Yeah. Shall I see if I've got something in my car for you?
I've got a first aid kit in there, it's fine.
You're right.
Yeah. It's only a flesh wound. Right, let's go and find the next one. There he is.
We eat venison, we eat rabbits, we eat hares. What's the difference with a squirrel?
There's a fairly decent one here.
And they've got to be culled, and now's a good time to cull them before they start breeding. These boys love their squirrels, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, when we first arrived, I just thought, this is madness. I don't know if I buy into this.
Go on. There he is. He's dead.
And then you get into it, and with the boys watching them work the poles, and you think, actually, this is a good morning out.
There he goes, Marco. Well done, Marco. Well shot.
Despite a decent morning's work, one question still remains.
Do we have enough squirrels for a pie, Mark? That's the question.
I think we've probably got ample.
Nearby, Marco and Mr. Ishii prepare to taste Mark's signature pie. But will it make it onto the shortlist for the feast?
Mr. Ishii, you are chief taster. Have you ever had squirrel before? You looking forward to it?
Yes.
No, you're not, are you, Mr. Ishii? I'll follow you, Mr. Ishii. If it tastes good, I'll follow you.
If we think of game, the reason why a lot of people don't enjoy game is because they weren't introduced to it as a child. And you know something? Game is truly free range. It's affordable, roasted well, or put in a pie, good proper old-fashioned short crust pastry. It is a delicious lunch.
And how good does that look? What do you think, Mr. Ishii? They were in the trees a few hours ago.
Yes.
Now they're in a pan. Would you like to
I never thought about taste like this. It's like a chicken taste for me. Very
like chicken,
soft,
isn't it?
Yes.
There was shot in it. That's it, we've done the pie.
All the restaurants next week?
No, I don't know about that. There's only so much squirrel a man can eat, trust me, before he looks like a liar.
Although they've had an enjoyable day's shooting, unlike Mr. Ishii, it seems Marco's love of meat doesn't extend to squirrel.
It was very exciting shooting those squirrels, really exciting. Would I feed it to 300 people? No. I think 299 of them would turn their nose up to it.
But Marco is still keen to push his diner's palates.
I'm in a position where I can bully people and force them to maybe taste something for the very first time in their life.
He's travelled west to the 7&Y Smokery in Gloucestershire. His mission? To change people's views of an unusual fish.
Freshwater eels are one of my favourites. And years ago, even when I first came to London, there was lots of pine at eel stalls. And it's sad it's dying. The young don't eat eels anymore.
These are quite unique now, Marco. We're not going to find a lot of fish like these in UK waters anymore.
Well, the British record's about 14 pounds, isn't it? Which is a big eel.
I mean, if you look at this, the fish are full of fat. They're in fantastic condition at the moment for smoking. Eel, unfortunately, has the stigma of a slippery snake. Not enough people try it.
Automatically, you can see the fat content. You can see it's really good quality. I mean, that is exquisite, isn't it? I mean, that is top drawer. It doesn't come better. The people who know about eel really enjoy it. And I would seriously consider doing smoked eel for the Great British Feast. So, let's take some smoked eel. And some of them might push up their nose. Ooh. They can spit it out. So you can always do, that's your option. You don't have to swallow it. Smoked eel, in my opinion, is the finest of all smoked fish, especially when it comes from a very large eel like this one, because what you want is that fat content. So when it's smoked, it's still very succulent. I always think of my childhood, and I'm not saying we had smoked eel as a child, because we didn't, but we had potato salad. Potato salad and smoked fish works fantastically well. Just take a few Jersey rolls. All you have to do is, again, is slice them. You like a lot of mayonnaise, put a lot of mayonnaise in. If you don't like a lot of mayonnaise, don't put a lot in it. It's your choice. You want just olive oil and vinegar, like I had at home as a child, then that's fine. So the next stage is to assemble our dish. If you can't afford eel, then get great quality mackerel. Watercress works fantastically well with fish. And it's fresh water like the eel. In Britain, we've been eating egg and cress for years. It just works fantastically well. You know, on a summer's day in the garden, it doesn't get any posher, does it? Just take a bit of pride in what you do. I mean, you know, every chef thinks he's Picasso, but this is not true. You can only sell a plate of food for so much. And it's gone like that.
Smoked eel has now joined potted shrimp on the shortlist of potential appetizers for the feast.
It's enormous.
But before he leaves Gloucestershire, owner Richard Cook wants him to savour another delicacy from the Severn River, provided by one of Britain's natural wonders. During the springtime, rare surge tides called the Severn Bore sweep up the river. And in April, it's not just humans who use the surf. Baby eels known as elvers complete a 2-year migration from the Sargasso Sea, straight into Richard's nets.
Alverin's in your blood. When the spring tides start to come, when the nights start to draw out, you just want to get the urge to go fishing.
As the sun sets, Marco joins Richard on the banks of the Severn to try and snaffle a few of the elvers for a midnight feast.
When's the tide coming up?
Probably due any time now.
Just let me get a cigarette, let me get us a light swing.
Right.
Oh, it's fucking cold. I wouldn't do it for all the money in the fucking world, this. Oh, this dish is too cold.
Elvers are so rare and the season so short that restaurants are able to charge more than £1,500 a kilo.
All swimming.
Never had so many.
Here he is, look. Hello, Marco.
Hello there, how are you boys?
Good to see you.
God, it's cold, isn't it? I should have put my long johns on.
You'll soon warm up there.
Around the campfire.
Yeah.
They're amazing, aren't they? Look at them. Digging for gold.
It is digging for gold. And it is
is
a
gold.
little like that.
White gold, yeah.
It is. They call it white gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good. Cheers. Lovely to be here with you.
Cheers.
And how long will you fish tonight?
Fish all night.
Yeah, it's about 4 o'clock.
And what does the wife think of that?
She don't mind.
It's a great excuse, isn't it, if you've got a mistress? Oh, I'm just going eeling.
Marco joins the boys for a traditional Gloucestershire breakfast.
No, we have. There's a lot, you know.
So when are you ready?
I'm ready, chef.
Oh, look at them.
Of live elvers, egg, bacon and cider.
You make a great breakfast, chef. It's Gloucestershire omelette.
Dave?
It's a great combination, isn't it? Elvers, bacon, eggs. God, that smoke. They're delicious, aren't they? They're really good.
They've got a unique flavour, haven't they? There is a subtle fishy
I
flavour.
was going to say they're very subtle. And to eat them in the moonlight with 2 great guys, campfire, a bottle of cider, what more does a man want?
Something wives don't understand. It's just the most romantic evening one could possibly spend. But you know, it's serious work down there. It's cold. It really is. I can see why Elvis cost a fortune. It's nothing to do with the eels.
Coming up,
Jackpot.
Marco goes looking for a personal favourite to complete his shortlist of appetizers.
This reminds me of collecting golf balls.
But will problems in the kitchen
Do not push me.
affect the diner's verdicts?
To not be able to cut into a fish, I feel quite repulsed by that.
You can see in his eyes, he's upset.
Marco Pierre White is travelling the country searching for potential appetizers for his great British feast. So far, he's chosen potted shrimps and smoked eel for his shortlist. In preparation for the feast, he's having one final tasting day at his pub,
Hi there, how are you?
where a group of diners will taste his choice of appetizers and help him decide which one to serve at the feast.
Mr. Ish, do you want a drink? You'd like half a pint of Old Rosie? Do you want to try a pint, Mr. Ish? No, half pint. No, half pint. Why don't I do you half pint in a big glass?
But after the diner's choice of venison tartare last week, he's unsure if they're making the right choices.
You have to accept people's opinions, and you have to respect them. That doesn't mean that they're right. It's like the customer's not always right. I love you on the Old Rosie machine.
So in the morning, Marco's decided to head down south, as he's determined to play it safe and get a personal favourite on his shortlist for the feast.
Good morning, John, though.
Good morning, Marco.
I see you dressed up for me. Put your kit on. How are you, boy? Nice.
How are you?
Marco's come to Hampshire to meet Jumbo.
It's your backyard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing. This is life.
Yes, sure is.
For 40 years, Jumbo has been collecting a unique delicacy from Leamington's endangered marshes.
Gull's eggs. They are something so rare, so special, and that window when you can collect them is so small, and they should be on the feast if I can get them.
Famed for their rich and creamy flavour, each year there is only a 3-week window in which licensed collectors are permitted to collect the eggs laid by black-headed gulls.
I've been a child on the beach with my bucket and spade. This is very exciting.
Their rarity means the eggs are sold for as much as £4 each, and Marco's quickly discovering why.
I didn't see that one. You're your second bucket?
Yeah, I'm the second one.
You walk quickly, you boys, don't you? I think you've done well. That's the first one I've come across.
Yeah.
So that's from the crow pecking them.
Yeah.
Quite sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. This reminds me of collecting golf balls. It's extraordinary off the practice range, picking them all up. It's interesting how you can miss eggs very easily.
Oh, yeah. You could go down one way and somebody comes back in the opposite direction and they think, Christ, these must be blind.
I bet that's what you've been saying back there about myself.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's one of the most amazing things I've ever done in my life. I mean, what a fantastic morning. And what's very sad, in 10 years' time, those marshes will have dissolved away, they'll have eroded, they'll be gone. They are my favourite food. If I had to have just one thing, it was my last supper, it would be gull's eggs. So what I'm going to prepare for you now is eggs mayonnaise, but with a little difference. Gull's eggs. What we do is we put the gull's eggs just in warm water, just to warm them. The chances of them cracking is much less. Put them in the boiling water, and that's for 6 minutes. You can't afford to overcook. To stop the cooking, into ice water. So the gull's eggs have chilled, and what we've got to do now
is just take off their shells. So how we serve them is with just classical mayonnaise, just mayonnaise. But then we make a homemade celery salt. And what that is, it's equal quantities of salt and grated celeriac. But if that's too much aggravation, then you can go down to the delicatessen. You can go to the supermarket and buy celery salt, which is perfectly good. What we do is we just serve a little bit of mayonnaise on the tip of each one. And then we take the celery salt, sprinkle it around. Delicious, very simple. Look at the translucency of the egg. And I would regard this as one of the true luxuries in gastronomy. That is truly amazing. Beautiful. Gull's eggs mayonnaise, or egg mayonnaise with gull's eggs, whichever way around you like it, I don't care. Delicious, very simple, not trying to be anything, and we've allowed her to show herself off.
Marco's short list of appetizers is now complete. But on the way back, he's decided to stop off at a supermarket. The rarity of gull's eggs has set Marco thinking, are some of the ingredients he's been sourcing available off the shelf?
Sorry, madam. I very rarely step out of my own environment. It's the way I am. And so even me today being in a supermarket, it's a rarity. Is this one way? I'm fascinated by supermarkets. I love an aisle, so I got married 3 times. How much would that cost for curiosity?
Things like that will be around about £20 with that.
So when you think 20 quid, you cut that
How
off.
many people would you feed them?
You'll get 8 out of that, won't you? Roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, 8, 10. So it's £2 a portion, it's great value. And what's your name?
Roy.
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 My uncle
Nice
was
to
called
meet you.
Roy, he was a butcher as well. Look, see, this is great. Do you like this? Oh, I love mustard. It's the best mustard in the world. I bet your old man loves it, doesn't he?
He does. He
Oh,
likes
they
a bit
are.
of hot stuff.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Supermarkets, you can't sort of poo-poo them. You've got to look at them for what they are. They're convenient. You can buy most things. I would say the majority of things that I cook, you'll be able to buy in supermarkets. I'm not saying you'll be able to buy roe deer in a supermarket, but the majority of things are all on these shelves or on these counters. When they're not looking, snap a piece off. See, if you smell your fruit, what it smells of, it tastes of. So if it doesn't smell of grapefruit, it doesn't really taste of grapefruit. It's just acidic. When you're buying fresh fruit, you should always smell it. If it doesn't smell of pineapple, it doesn't taste of pineapple. If it doesn't taste of oranges, it doesn't sorry, if it doesn't smell of orange, it doesn't taste of orange.
For me oranges, then.
So you have a quick smell. Can you smell orange?
No.
There you are.
Oh. Can you? No.
As Marco leaves the supermarket, he spots his favourite fish of all time.
Ah, so I see you whipped out the turbot since I was last here. That's very nice. You see?
Wow.
It's a farm turbot. What's great about it is it's affordable, isn't it? So when you think, for £4.54 for turbot, it's cheap. If that was a wild fish, it'd be another 2-3 quid on top.
Although he's already chosen his short list of appetizers, it's too good an opportunity for Marco not to cook one of his favourite dishes.
Fish and chips. And I think the very best fish to make fish and chips with is turbot. It's firm, it's got great flavour. And you know you want a fish which is about 6-7 pounds, so you get a nice thick fillet. Remove the skin, off with the skirt. That's stage 1 done. What we're going to make now is the batter. I use no eggs. Beer, yeast, flour. This is ale. The yeast, we do is just dissolve that in, and then, little bit by bit, add the flour. So what I'm looking for is a consistency which will cling to my fish. Into the fryer. We've got our chips. When I cut chips, I like a proper chip. If the potato's that long, then that's how long the chip is. That's the way it's meant to be. These are Morris Pipers, which are very good potatoes. So my batter's started to ferment. That's ready now to be used. So what we're going to do is take our turbot, just dust it in flour, plain flour. Some people like to season it, I don't, because I'm going to put my seasoning on at the end. It's quite vicious, this. God, I always wanted to work in a chip shop. Blanch at 110 degrees Celsius. Drain, let them cool, but then fry them again at 130 degrees Celsius. And that's how you get the perfect chip. Crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. A piece of turbot like this is about 5 minutes at 130. That's a big piece of fish. You need a hammer to get through it. Crunchy. Look at this. That's an interesting basket. Oh, dear me. And like in the chippy, fish on top. Makes the portion look big, that batter. Oh, sensational. And of course, malt vinegar and salt. Now, ooh. Beautiful batter. If I had a chip shop, I'd bring all the guests down to the chip shop for the Great British Feast. Trust me. Oh. Amazing.
Having chosen his appetizers, Marco's taking some much-needed time out.
Well, this is one of my favourite little bolt holes, and I've been coming here for years. And it's the first pool up from Southampton, the mouth of the Test. And it's just an amazing place to come, and if you catch a salmon, it's a bonus. So this is like a day off.
As well as indulging one of his biggest passions, it's a chance to reflect on the impending decision day.
If they wish to judge me, then that's their choice. All I'm doing is fighting for Britain and what Britain represents, you know, to the best of my abilities. And I think anybody who tries or has a go in this world, you can't knock. Let's see what happens. It'll be interesting.
Although Marco has no idea how the diners will react when they taste his appetizers, at least he's safe in the knowledge that for one person, the journey's definitely been worth it.
Oh, look at him hiding behind the bushes. Fabulous. Look at him hiding behind the bushes. Can you see him? That's fabulous. That's very sweet. I wish he loves it. He loves it because he's been to places and seen places which he's never been to, and he thinks it is beautiful. Well, what Mr. Ishii loves is just discovering Britain. Mr. Ishii, would you like to have a go?
He's shy, but I will.
You're a bit shy. Don't push me in, Mr. Ishii. What do you think of British food, Mr. Ishii?
Well, I like very much roast beef myself, and I like so much...
Is that the Yorkshire puddings?
I do, yes. Even in Japan, roast beef very popular.
Did you like the fish and chips, Mr. Ishii?
Yes, I do, yes.
Very simple. Do you like bitter now, Mr. Ishii?
Yes.
You never used to drink bitter. But it's a lovely place to be, Mr. Ishii.
Oh, yes, it's one of the best places to be here. Very nice, very comfortable, very quiet and bright environment. Very nice place.
It's very sad there's no salmon. Do you remember when we used to come 10 years ago, Mr. Ishii? It's not the fish like there used to be, is there? But you know, Mr. Ishii, if you caught fish every time you went, you get bored. That's the beauty of it.
Coming up, it's the final tasting day at Marco's pub.
Totally different. I'm not a big eel fan.
Do you take this, please? Rather than just stand there, thank you.
But will the diners' verdicts finally push Marco to the limit?
Just too much butter.
For want of a better word, they were swimming.
I don't want to be filmed. Do you understand? Have some fucking respect.
It's the last ever tasting day at Marco's pub in Hampshire, and the pressure's on. In less than 2 hours, 30 guests will taste his potential appetizers and help him choose which one should be served at the Great British Feast.
I think what's very important is to listen to your diners. Because, in my opinion, it's the diners who write the menu.
But on the 2 previous tasting days, not all the diners' comments have been entirely positive.
Let's not forget, I've fed the public for a very long time. I know exactly what they are. And I know the ones who are being genuine. I know the ones who are being clever for the sake of being clever. Because that little thing called ego sometimes steps into play.
With Marco slowly losing faith in his diners' verdicts, loyal maitre d' Nick Mounier is on hand to smooth over any potential problems.
The pressure is on. We just want people to come and enjoy it, not to criticise. You know, it's just to have a good lunch, enjoy the day. We're in the setting of the Hugh Tree, a wonderful pub, very British, and that's what we should be doing, you know, and it should be very relaxed.
With the guests about to arrive, Marco's realised there's an issue with his most controversial appetizer, smoked eel.
Oh, God. Don't worry about that bit, it's fucked. A bit dry. I think it's been frozen. The meat's been frozen, it's no good. Frozen fucking smoked eel.
Clearly agitated, Marco asks the cameras to stop rolling.
Don't take me on this one, please. It's been frozen. It's shit. I want to know why. It's very simple, isn't it? I don't want to be filmed. Do you understand? Do not film when I say do not film me. Have some fucking respect. Do not push me. I don't think you understand what I am. I control myself very well.
Marco's guests, which include suppliers, chefs and members of the public, are now starting to arrive.
How are you? I'm
Very
Nick.
good, thanks. Hi.
How are you?
Very excited all week.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Immensely. So I've been worse than the kids.
As the restaurant fills up, they're unaware of the tension in the kitchen.
I think there was an issue with one of the appetizers. So I'm staying out of it at the moment. You can see in his eyes he's upset, which is not what I was hoping for before service, so we just have to wait and see. So it's going to put us under immense pressure now.
And to top it all off, guest of honour Jean-Christophe Novelli is running late.
You get some really small. Don't say anything silly to me, Nicholas. Well, then you won't be talking to me, will you? What did I just tell you not to do?
Whilst they wait, the diners speculate on the food they're about to receive.
Totally different. I'm not a big eel fan.
No. I think pottage is coming back in, isn't it? All the pottage.
I like eggs.
Well, we're going to be a little bit biased because we produce the potted shrimps.
What would you normally eat for?
Sketchy bolognese, shepherd's pie, you know, the odd roast.
In, isn't it? All the pottage.
I like eggs.
Well, we're going to be a little bit biased because we produce the potted shrimps.
What would you normally eat for?
Sketchy bolognese, shepherd's pie, you know, the odd roast dinner, the typical tinned and frozen stuff. So this is going to be an absolute treat.
More than 45 minutes late, Marco salvaged enough eel to send the first appetizer of smoked eel with a potato salad.
Smoked eel. Potato salad.
It's lovely. It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, it does a little bit. I can't believe you're eating that, actually, Cameron.
This is the first time I've seen Cameron eat fish. The first time ever. Marco, you've done a wonderful job.
Not over smoked, not over salted. A beautiful texture, rather firm, bitey. Absolutely beautiful.
The eel, I really couldn't cut into it very well. And to not be able to cut into a fish, kind of, I feel quite repulsed by that.
Finally, Jean-Christophe Novelli arrives just in time for the next appetizer.
Really bad traffic, yeah.
Does that mean we'll have a sandwich or something?
Gull's eggs served with mayonnaise and celery salt.
Tim's come and see me.
If I don't come back, I'll be at the washing
You're lucky to be fed.
How are you?
Have some mayonnaise, please, to the great man. Why were you late, Sean? I know you're always late, but why were you late this time?
No, I mean the traffic.
You were late for my wedding. That was no great loss.
Did I? I forgot. But you know, I always stay longer. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Amazing, yeah? Okay, don't stop.
Garlic egg with mayonnaise, I thought, well, I don't know. But actually, the mayonnaise is so good that you feel actually that it might be worth eating the garlic egg.
It's the best boiled egg I've had. It's really good.
Last up, Marco serves his homemade potted shrimp.
Looks fantastic, boss.
I wasn't talking to you, Nicholas. How's the sliced bread? The buttered bread, please. There's the 4 on the pass. Can you take this, please? Rather than just stand there. Thank you. That's it.
Now, I'm sure you're starving, so there's the potted shrimp.
A lot of simplicity, a lot of flavors, and not chichi or mishmash type. And I think that's what people want. I've always said he's the best chef in the world. I say it.
Potted shrimp, I think, was my least favourite, just because it was a little bit too buttery for me.
With the appetizers served, all that's left is for the diners to give their verdicts. They've been asked to list the appetizers in order of preference. And Nick Mounier has the pleasure of relaying the diners' comments to an already upset Marco.
Least favourite appetizer.
Why did you use a negative word like least, Nicholas? You didn't say least. Comments on least favourite appetizer. How negative is that? So you just read right, on the potted shrimps.
Okay. On the potted shrimp.
That's better.
I loved potted shrimp, but the butter is a bit too rich for me.
It seems Marco's attempt to create potted shrimp hasn't impressed the producers from Baxter's.
They had far too much butter on. Far too much butter. Kathleen is the person who actually pots them.
They were very nice, but just too much butter.
For want of a better word, they were swimming.
Very disappointed with the amount of butter. That is why the eggs won.
What did you want more? Let's move on.
Okay, sorry.
Driver's mad.
The eel was my favourite.
Yeah, the eel. I mean, I would love to do this for a dinner party. That was the perfect starter.
The smoked eel and potato salad was heavenly. Smoked eel represents Britain best. Very nice.
Which was the diner's favourite? Potted shrimp, gulls' eggs, or smoked eel?
In third place is the potted shrimp, and beating the gulls' eggs by just 1 point. The first place goes to smoked eel with potato salad.
Can I go now?
Okay. Understandably, it's not always easy for Marco to take feedback from the public. That's their opinion, but ultimately it's Marco's decision.
Was I sure that they'd made the right decision? I thought about it. You know, I'm still not 100% sure. We've got the smoked eel, we've got the venison, we've got the fish pie. That was the people's choice. It shocked me. But it's too easy to bully your way through life. And I just think, you know, it is England, Britain on a plate. They can have their choice. But now we're moving into another world, and that world is the world of puddings. And this is where I will step in and make my decision.
It's not been easy, but Marco's menu is nearing completion. Next week, Marco takes matters into his own hands.
Let's not forget, it is our feast.
As he searches for puddings for his menu.
Looks like a gimp mask. You are without doubt the prettiest veg bird in the world.
And the big day finally arrives.
If the diners walk away feeling that they are truly proud to be British, that I've done my job.
For Marco to serve his feast to over 200 people.
Let's not forget, I was brought up on the streets of Britain, and one thing about the British is we always stand firm.
Well, tomorrow we've got a new 6-part drama series focusing on a very posh surgery in London's medical district. But things are not as they seem. Many thrills and a fair few spills too, as Saran Jones, Paul Nicholls and Kim Metcalfe star in Harley Street, new to ITV1 tomorrow night at 9.